Hi everyone, welcome back to my kitchen. I'm Jacqueline and this is Lowcarblish. If you're new here, this is a channel where we take our favorite high carb recipes and make low carb versions of them to try to control our blood sugars and reverse type 2 diabetes. And if you're not new here, welcome back. Today we are going to be making stuffed mushrooms. You guys, I've been on a mushroom kick lately. I don't know why, but I made this recipe the other night and it was so good. It turned out so good. I was like, I have to do a video of that. Super easy, and we're going to put it together partially on the stove and then bake them for about 20 minutes, and then we'll be done. These are spinach cheese mushrooms and they are really good, and I'm working on some other versions, some stuffed with different types of meats and other veggies, so be looking for those in the future. But for today we're going to do cheese and spinach. So I'm starting off with 6 white button mushrooms, and if you use these for appetizers, then one is a serving. What I have been doing is having like 3 of them as my meal and then having a salad and stuff with it. So whatever you choose to do, it's up to you, but they're delicious. So I've got 6 button mushrooms here, and if you were doing these for like a party, it would be super simple to double or triple the recipe depending on how many people you're going to be entertaining. So we've got the mushrooms. I've got 1 cup of, I'm using frozen spinach. You could use fresh spinach, but you're going to have to adjust your serving size if you go with fresh. But this is frozen spinach that's just been thawed out, just thawed it out in the microwave. And if you thaw your frozen spinach out in the sink, which some people do, just be sure that you squeeze it and get most of the moisture out, because if you'll notice, there's not a lot of moisture left in this. And that is on purpose because these mushrooms are going to put off a little bit of juice when we bake them. So we don't want to add more things that are going to put more moisture in, because we actually are going to pour some of the juice off before we finish them off. So I've also got 1/4 cup of onion here, and don't worry about the amounts. I'll have them down in the description with the recipe. I've got a tablespoon of jarred garlic. If you're using fresh garlic with this, it's going to be about 2 cloves chopped really well. We've got 4 ounces of cheese here, and you can use any cheese that you love. I happen to love sharp cheddar mixed with mozzarella. It just makes a really smooth, cheesy texture that's not completely sharp, and it's not kind of completely bland like mozzarella pizza cheese can be. I've got 3 tablespoons of butter melted here, and we're going to put that in a pan and cook all of this stuff up, but we're going to use part of it to baste the top of our mushroom caps, because we want to do that to keep the moisture in the mushroom and not have them dry out while they're cooking. And then I've got some coriander, I've got dill, and I've got salt and pepper here. And that's it. And if you don't like garlic, or you don't like coriander or dill, those are optional. You don't have to do it. But if you enjoy those flavors, they really bring a lot to the party here. So let's get started. Alright, y'all, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our stems out of our mushrooms here. And you just rock them back and forth gently and they'll pop out. And then I am not going to take the gills out of the mushrooms. I like the flavor to be in the mushroom, so I'm going to leave that. I do trim around the edges just a little bit, and I'm just doing that to kind of open it up a little bit so I can fit the stuffing in there. And I'm going to put the little mushrooms in here because we're going to butter the caps of the mushrooms. And all the little stems that I'm taking out, we're going to chop them up and add them to the filling as well. And so this one looks pretty good. I don't need to trim it back any. And you just kind of have to eyeball it, and if you don't want to trim them, you don't have to. Like I said, I just do that because it makes it a little easier for me to fill them in. And this one also is good, so we're not going to trim that one. This one does need to be trimmed a little bit, so we're going to do that. Y'all, I love mushrooms. It's one of those foods that I don't eat them all the time. I don't know why, because I really, really, really like them. But then sometimes when I get on a kick with them, I'm on a kick with them. Do y'all do that? Sometimes I'll get on a kick with a certain food and just eat it for a while, and then I'm over it and I don't eat it for a little while. I like mushrooms and a lot of different things, but I really like stuffed mushrooms. And this is a great low-carb version. And it's not using any of the almond flours or the pork rinds or any of that, which I do have some recipes I'm going to be putting on the channel that I've been working on that do have those things in them. But this is not the breaded kind, and they're still really good. So I think you guys, if you like spinach and cheese, I think you guys will like these. Alright, so got these trimmed off. Now, like I said, we're going to cut these mushrooms. I'm going to cut the very ends of these stems off and discard those, and then we're going to chop up the rest of what's left, and we're going to add it to the filling. And it adds a nice kind of bulk and texture to it as well. Alright, so now I'm just going to go in here and chop this up. And maybe a bigger knife, but I may be able to just cut these down with my smaller knife too. Alright y'all, so if you want to, Jenny, if you want to come in a little bit close so they can see how I'm doing these. If you want to do them like this, you can. If you want to get a bigger knife and just cut them up and chop them, that's cool too. But I'm just cutting them across and like this and making them into a really small dice, because we do want to get that flavor in there, but it doesn't have to be big chunks, you know what I mean? So I'm going to finish chopping these up, and then I'll see you guys back over at the stove in just a minute. Okay y'all, so I finished chopping up the mushroom stems, and I just wanted to show y'all what I'm doing here. Like I told you, I've got 3 tablespoons of butter melted in here, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to paint the backs of these mushroom caps with some butter. And I'm doing that because a lot of times when you are baking mushrooms, they will get really dry and kind of rubbery on the outside. And if you coat them with oil, you could even do this with like a spray oil that you wanted, or avocado oil. I just use butter because I like the flavor of it, and I'm already melting butter for the rest of the recipe, so I just went with butter on it. But it's totally up to you, just whatever kind of oil you want to use that's got a nice melting point to it will work. So that's all I've done here is I've buttered the outside of these, and now I'm going to put them in this pan. Y'all hang on just a second, I got to get my tongs. I'll be right back. Okay, so now I'm just going to lay these over in my pan, and you don't have to grease your pan or anything. Just put your mushrooms in here, and I'm going to put a little bit of the seasoning on the inside of each mushroom, because remember what I always say about I like to flavor every layer. So this is just a little salt and pepper I've got mixed up here, and I'm just going to go in with a little bit of that on each one of them, and then just a little bit of the dill, not too much, just a little, because we're going to put the dill in the spinach cheese sauce. And then just a touch of coriander. And the coriander, I really go light on this because there's not a ton of it that I'm using, maybe 1/4 of a teaspoon in it. And so that is all I'm going to do to these until we get them stuffed. So now I'm going to move over to the stove, and I'm going to show you how to get the filling together, and then we'll be putting them together. Okay y'all, so I'm back at the stove, and the first thing we're going to do is put the butter in that I've got left over. And we've probably got about 2 tablespoons left now since I buttered the back of the mushrooms. And we're just going to put the butter in here in my pan, and I'm doing this on a medium heat, just in case you are curious about that. Alright, and so I'm going to put the mushrooms in and get them going. Not the big mushrooms, the mushroom stems that we chopped up here. And I'm also going to add our onion in. And I'm going to add the garlic, but I'm not going to add it until the noodles get, y'all, the onions, I said noodles, until the onions get translucent here. And the reason I'm doing it that way is because it's really easy to burn garlic. And we don't want to burn it at all. We just want it to have that nice flavor that it adds to the dish. So I'm putting this in here, and then I'm also going to add the rest of the spices in with this and let them be moving while this is cooking. So I've got the rest of the coriander here. we've got, and I'm probably not going to use all the salt and pepper because I didn't measure it. I just put enough out that if I needed it, I would have it. So I'm going to start off with this amount, and then if we need some more at a different time, we'll put some more. Let me get rid of this. Okay. So we're going to cook this up, and when these onions and mushrooms are done, I'm going to pop the garlic in here, and then we'll add the spinach. So I'm not going to make y'all sit here and watch onions cook until I get translucent. I'll probably be back in about 3 or 4 minutes, and then we'll finish up. Alright y'all, so the onions and the mushroom stems are just about ready. If you take a look here, you'll see that the onions are starting to get translucent. And I'm going to add the spinach in next. And I forgot to add my dill in while I was talking to y'all a minute ago, so we're going to put the dill in here. I went to clean the salt and pepper off my hand and totally forgot to put the dill back in. But that's okay, because it'll be fine. Alright, so at this point is when I usually add the garlic in, because like I said, we want to get that aroma in the spinach and everything, but we don't want to burn the garlic. So the first thing I'm going to do is put the rest of my little dill in here, because we need dill. The dill really does add something to this. It's really, really nice. And then, now I'm going to pop this garlic in here. I'm just going to saute it for a couple of minutes, maybe not even 2 whole minutes. And because like I say, I'm just blooming the garlic and getting the spinach warmed up. Because the spinach, you know, y'all, when we get that frozen spinach, it's almost already cooked anyway. So it won't take long. Alright. So this is what you guys are looking for when it's in the pan. And I've got 4 ounces of cheese here. So for this amount of mushrooms, we're going to use 2 in it and 2 on top of it. So I've got this split up just so you can see what I'm doing. And like I said, y'all can use any kind of cheese that floats your boat. And if you prefer all mozzarella or our cheddar, all sharp cheddar, it would probably be even work with feta. I haven't tried it with feta yet, but I love spinach with feta, so that would probably work just as well. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn the heat off on my eye, and I'm just going to stir this up because we're just trying to melt this cheese. And I forgot to grab a bowl, but I will grab one real quick here because I'm going to take the spinach out of the pan and let it cool off just a little bit so we can fill these mushrooms up. But that's all you're looking for right now. And right now is for your cheese to get melted in with your spinach and everything. And I'm going to pull it off the heat. I'm going to grab a bowl here. Y'all think God put Jenny in the corner for forgetting to tell me to get a bowl? Probably not. Alright, so I'm just going to get a little bowl here and put this in here to help it cool off a little bit. And I'm going to let this cool off probably for about 2 or 3 minutes. And when I come back, we'll be filling these mushrooms up. And before long, we're going to be eating some spinach and cheese mushrooms, y'all. Okay, you guys, so this has been cooling off for about 3 minutes now. And we're just going to take and fill each mushroom up. And I'm going to be very generous with this filling, but I'm going in first and just filling the cavity in. And then we'll come back and top some more of it off after this. And you may end up with a little leftover filling, and that's okay if we do, because I'm going to show you in another video what we're going to do with the extra filling that we have left over. And it's also going to be tasty. So alright, so I've got all these like this, and now I'm going to go back in and top each one of them again with another little spoonful. Because you want to be generous. You don't want it to be so full that it's falling off in your pan like that one just did. You want it to stay in your mushroom, but you do want to have enough in there where they're filling, especially if you're serving these as a meal, which, like I think I told y'all, I've been doing that for the last couple of days, and they're really good. And I find that 3 of these is more than satisfying for me. So I hope y'all find the same thing. So it looks like today I'm not going to have that much stuff left over, so that's cool. And I will still make some more of this at some point and show you guys what else I do with this filling. But for today, we are going to enjoy our mushroom spinach and cheese. So now all I'm doing now is I'm going to put them in the oven. That's it. I've got the oven preheating at 350. So I'm getting ready to stick these in the oven. They're going to bake for about 20 minutes. And then we're going to pull them out, put the rest of the cheese on them, bake them for about another 3 minutes. And then as soon as they cool down enough to eat them, we're going to be munching on some delicious mushrooms. Okay, y'all, it's been about 20 minutes, so we're going to pull these out real quick. And they are looking fabulous. Now remember what I told you about, you're going to get some liquid coming off of your mushrooms. And I don't have too much today. Sometimes there's even more than this. But I always just pour this off very carefully. Oh, I don't want to lose any. Okay. And then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to put the rest of the cheese on it. Oh, I got fly in here. I've had the back door open today because Miss Macy keeps running in and out. And we've had so much rain over here lately that she hasn't been able to go out as much as she usually likes to. So the last couple of days I've had the door open for her so she can just come and go as she pleases. And that makes her happy. It makes me happy that she's happy. So I'm just going in on each mushroom here and putting the rest of the cheese on. And I am spilling a little bit of it here, but I'm going to go back in and scoop it up and put that on top of them too. Because that's just the way I am. And we'll pop these back in the oven. It usually takes about 3 minutes for all the cheese to melt on top of them. And then we will be finished. And we will be eating some good mushrooms. So let me scoop up this cheese that's in here. And one of the reasons that I scoop up this cheese, I'm teasing about not wasting cheese, which, I mean, who wants to waste cheese? But also, I don't like it to burn in the pan. And so I try to get as much of it as I can up. It's not going to hurt anything if you leave it. I'm just funny like that. I don't like it to burn in the pan, so I'll pop it on here. And I got a good little bit of cheese right here that I'm going to pop on this mushroom that looks like it didn't get enough cheese. Alright. So these are going back in the oven, like I said, for about 3 minutes. And when we come back, you're going to see how beautiful they are. And then we're going to be doing a taste test. Okay, y'all, it's been about 3 minutes and we are done here. Look how beautiful those look, guys. And they are so, so good. So I'm going to get them plated up and then I'll meet you over at the counter and we'll do a taste test. Okay, y'all, so this is them. They turned out gorgeous. And I'm going to take one of these. I'm going to pick one with a lot of cheese on it. And I'm going to cut it and let you guys see what they look like in the middle when they're cut open. They are so good, y'all. Look at all that cheesy goodness. Oh, I can't wait to try this. Because I told y'all, I've been on a mushroom kick lately. I don't know why, but I have been. So, here we go. It is so good, y'all. Truly. Let me get a little drink. So, if you guys like mushrooms and spinach and cheese, I really do think that you're going to love these. They're, like you see, they're simple to make. Doesn't take long at all, mostly one pan, and so tasty and cheesy and good. So give them a try. If you do, let me know down in the comments what you think. If you are subscribed, I just want to tell you thank you so much for doing that. It really does help me to feel encouraged to continue going, and it helps me to feel like I'm doing something that's helping our community. If you would, hit that like button because it really does help people that have just been diagnosed to find my channel. And I appreciate y'all coming and hanging out with me. I love you guys to pieces. We're going to be doing another video very soon, and I will see you soon. Have a great week. Love you guys. Bye-bye.